Hi, Mickey. Are you experiencing any vertigo?
So I just watched Mickey 17 for the first time yesterday, and I've got to say, it's a wild ride. Apart from being
Bong Joon-Ho
directorial return since Parasite, and it's starring Robert Pattinson, there's basically nothing in this movie I and most people are aware of going in. First things first, this is a very weird movie. There's a lot going on, so it's hard to pin down any singular genre for it to fit into. One moment is devastatingly existential, and the next they're doing something goofy. I haven't watched any of the director's previous work, so I had to come in this with a complete open mind. For the sake of my own sanity and because there's so much to cover, consider this video my first take. I've only seen it once. My general impression after watching it for the first time, as I try to wrap my head around.
I guess I am.
Mickey 17 follows the story of Mickey 17, which apparently was a change from the original book where he was Mickey 7, but the director wanted to kill him at least 10 more times. Mickey 17's job is to be an expendable, which essentially is someone who agrees to die, participating in deadly experiments in exchange for a new body every single time. The reason they're in space is because of the ethical and legal reasons surrounding the use of expendables on Earth. Since the expendables are technically the same person, allegedly, they'd all be responsible for the actions any one of them commits. Anytime Mickey dies, all the same memories and feelings he has get transferred into the new body, so that he's the same person, allegedly, every single time. It goes experiment, die, clone, and then the cycle's on repeat. By the time we meet Mickey 17, he's numb to the whole experience, waiting for it all to happen all over again.
I should have got snapped in half and died on the way down.
What makes Mickey 17 such a compelling protagonist is that despite how horrible his job is, he finds a way to bear or rationalize it every time. You get the sense that he's the type of person other people have to protect from danger, despite the fact that his job is to die for them. I honestly wish we had more time with Mickey 17 throughout the entire film, and that we get to see more of what life was like on Earth, because in the background of the entire film is this lingering sense of uncertainty that all the characters have, to why they're willing up to put up with the ship's horrible work and life conditions. We don't get to learn much about the characters' lives on Earth or why they're even on board. In the case of Mickey, he got on because he was running away from something. The colony ship is led by Mark Ruffalo doing his best Trump impression. After losing an election on Earth twice, he decides to use his wealth to fund a space odyssey in search of a new planet that he could rule. Mark's character, Kenneth Marshall, is awkward, creepy, and obsessed with controlling everything, especially good-looking fertile women. Yeah, it gets weird. His entire vibe is that of a narcissistic dictator trying to play God, and weirdly enough, it kind of works. The other characters are Steven Yeun playing Timo, Mickey's awful friend, and of course, Nasha, Mickey's girlfriend, the highlight of the entire film. At first, you're not really sure if she cares about Mickey or if she's just using him for something, because let's be honest, this guy is super easy to manipulate. But the film does a great job at showing how much she cares about him, and... Alright, spoiler time. After Mickey 17 is presumed dead, actually just abandoned by Steven Yeun's character, he's the worst, he gets rescued by some alien worm monsters, don't worry, we'll get there, only to return and find out that he's already been recloned. Enter Mickey 18. So, 17 and 18 know that being a multiple is super illegal, so their initial reaction is to try and get rid of each other. I'm not sure if you've seen any other clone movies, but typically, two clones aren't ever the same person. They're more like twins than anything else. They're never exact copies, which makes this film a lot more interesting in the long run. So, what most clone films do is show you how different experiences can change a person's outlook or personality. The way it's initially presented here is Mickey has always been the same guy. His backstory, his interpretation of events, it's been the same person who's been transferring his consciousness into another body. By the time we meet 18 though, we realize it's no longer true, and rather, the backstory, interpretation of events, and even his closest relationships have all been reimagined by 17's point of view. That would mean despite having the same memories, every Mickey before was a different person interacting and engaging with the world in wildly different ways. And this doesn't get more apparent until we start dealing with Mickey 18. While 17 is anxious and constantly self-blaming all the events that took place in all of the Mickey's lives, 18 is more logical, assertive, and confrontational, to the point where he hasn't accepted the clone cycle of death, like 17 has, but he resents it instead. Something the movie does when they first meet is have 18 ask 17 if he was afraid to die, to which 17 replies,
It felt like it was me continuing on. But now, once I die, it'll be over for me. It'll be you living on. You get what I mean?
Another fun little bit is that with the story being told from 17's perspective, there's so much detail and context missing. 18 a lot of the time says things that the audience might be thinking, like how Timo or Mark Ruffalo's characters are pieces of trash, but 17 often justifies them. Their personalities aren't different from the experiences they've had. They've had the same experiences. Rather, they're different because of how they interpret them, which is why the next character is so compelling to watch. Nasha is Mickey's girlfriend. But my question when I first started watching was, which Mickey is she the girlfriend of? Once we as an audience learn that Mickey becomes a completely different person every single time he dies, her motive for wanting to be with him, her attraction feel extremely confusing. Knowing that 17 is an unreliable narrator, I even started to wonder if maybe he was making everything up about their relationship. Maybe it was completely one-sided. Or maybe Nasha didn't really love Mickey at all, because once she finds out about 18, she's more excited about what the three of them can do together, more than about the fact that they're multiples. It would have been easy to write her off as manipulative or opportunistic, but the film subverts that by showing that she does love Mickey. Every single version of him. Throughout the movie, Nasha goes out of her way to stand up for him and follow both versions of the character. Despite the two of them not getting along, Nasha makes a point to protect and take care of each of them, despite them having different needs. Constantly, she's always meeting 17 or 18 wherever they're at, and she has their back. Unlike most people who treat him like spam meat, Nasha really does see both versions of Mickey as Mickey, going as far as sit with him during one of his deaths. Okay, I said I was gonna get to this part. After 17 and 18 get discovered, Mark Ruffalo's character, Kenneth Marshall, captures them and does his best to torture and eventually kill them for being multiples. Using the power of public perception, he convinces the people on the ship that the native population of aliens on the planet they landed on were dangerous. The same aliens that saved Mickey earlier in the film. 17 to 18 go out to communicate with the alien species, dubbed the Creepies by Ruffalo's character, and after successfully speaking to the aliens who threatened to melt their brains, 17 and 18 work together and save the humans. Which brings me to... the weakest part of the movie is easily the alien subplot. Don't get me wrong, the aliens or the Creepies are important. They represent how authoritarian leaders create enemies, and they're the whole reason why 17 and 18 get a chance to meet. But compared to the internal and social struggle that Mickey goes through, the alien conflict just isn't as interesting. And while they do make for a good analogy, it's not one that we get to see the crew members outside of Kenneth's fanatics react to. The film shines the most when it's focused on 17 and 18 and how they interpret things differently. For example, 17 sees Timo as a quirky friend. 18 sees him for the scumbag that he is. 17 sees Kenneth Marshall as a jerk, but ultimately responds to him like a boss. 18 wants to kill him. But better than all those different perspectives is the last real conversation that 17 and 18 have. Right before the climax, 17 blames himself for his mother's death. And while we as the audience see how she dies and know it couldn't have been his fault, 18 offers a logical explanation and even says, "Not this again," as if it was truly some sort of internal conversation every Mickey has had with themselves, but they just simply had a different perspective on it. Further showing how two different perceptions of the same experience can shape us. They both love Nasha though. Mickey 17 isn't for everyone. It's messy, weird, totally inconsistent at times, but that feels like the point. What the movie ends up being is a thoughtful consideration of identity, ethics, memory, and power, packaged in a sci-fi cloning movie that doesn't take itself too seriously, until it absolutely has to. No, it's not perfect, but in the words of Mickey Barnes,
I have to stop feeling guilty. It's okay for me to be happy.
7 out of 10. Go watch the movie. What did you think about Mickey 17? Comment down below and let me know. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys later.